Tonight, more protests and vigils in Minneapolis after a U.S. citizen was killed by federal agents for the second time in just 3 weeks. Graphic video obtained by Dropsite News shows at least 5 agents violently struggling with the man before multiple shots were fired, killing him. Witnesses stunned.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is DHS, also known as the Department of Homeland Security. With this being not the first, not the second, but the third time they have killed somebody, I think it's safe to say they don't want what's best for this country. They're pretty much like police officers, except they're not an actual force, and they're a lot more cruel, which I know is crazy to say considering how much police brutality happens in this country. I myself came from Ukraine. I came from a country that was in a very shitty position, and it's even in a worse position at the moment. I come from a place that has no guns, no freedom of speech when it comes to, talking about politicians, when it comes to talking about politics. If you speak out about it, you're going to prison. So I came to America, more of my parents did, but I also have this belief now that we came to this country for a better life. We came to this country for, the American dream. I also do want to say that I was an avid supporter of ICE. I was supportive of ICE until very recently, and when the Renee Good situation happened, I wasn't sure what to do. I wasn't sure how to think of it because I thought that it was justified considering how much of the right media I consumed, and I thought it was justified. One of the reasons being is I'm white. I never realized how they treat immigrants that are non-whites. I always thought that I'm an immigrant, therefore I never get treated poorly, therefore I'm completely fine. Or ICE is completely fine, I should say. And to an extent, that's true. I'm completely fine. Obviously, they're not going to touch me because I'm a white guy and I look American. And as if the fact that they racially profile isn't enough, they're also extremely violent. There's multiple videos of them beating people up, pushing them to the ground with over excessive force, way too much force, and they simply have no respect for anyone except themselves and their own kind. And as if this already is not bad enough, they're using constant excuses, which you'll see in a second, saying that the person that they shot and killed a few days ago was going at them or approaching them with a 9mm pistol, which, as we've seen on every single video angle, every single camera, every single thing we've seen, all evidence shows that that's not true. In fact, he backed away. They pepper sprayed him and he fell to the ground. He fucking raised his hand, as Moist Critical said, like a first grader trying to answer a question in class. He was not there to hurt anyone. He was simply there to protest ICE.
DHS says agents were conducting a targeted operation on an undocumented immigrant when Preddy approached Border Patrol agents with a 9mm handgun. They released this image of a weapon.
As I've already stated, DHS is blatantly lying with this one. They expect you to just close your eyes on this. They expect you to be a sheep, which is, in my opinion, what the Republicans are when it comes to this topic in particular. They expect you to be blind to just, oh, okay, they said so that's how it is. There's 500 different camera angles that show that that's not true. That's not what happened at all. All he had was his phone, and his other hand was clear. And you could see that in every single video from every single perspective that you could possibly think of.
I think we have a picture of the man who was shot and killed. That is Alex Pretty, the man who's been identified as an ICU nurse who was shot and killed. The mayor saying he did have a permit to carry that weapon, or at least a weapon. But that is the man who has now been identified by his family as Alex Pretty, who is deceased after this morning's shooting by Border Patrol.
And you guys did see one of those angles at the beginning of the video. You guys saw that what happened was unjustified. In fact, they actually pistol whipped him before they killed him as well, which I think is disgusting. Once again, you guys are not allowed to do that. I'm gonna break it to you. You're not a real force. You're appointed by Trump. No one takes you guys seriously except for a very small percentage of white people. Now, seeing Moist Critical make a video about this is how you know that this shit is mainstream, because he does not talk about politics often. I'm a big fan, by the way. I love you, Charlie. In fact, I'm willing to donate some of my height to you. I'm about 6 foot. I'm willing to go down to average to put you up to average as well.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is a 100% unjustified killing of an American citizen here. In all of the videos that exist, there is not a single moment where he is reaching for the gun, brandishing it, threatening with it, or anything at all, and we have video that shows the entire interaction from start to finish. And according to the police chief, he is a U.S. citizen with no prior interactions with law enforcement outside of a couple of traffic tickets, and believed to be a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry. So for him to lose his life being shot multiple times by these agents, all because of him exercising his Second Amendment rights, which again, he wasn't trying to use as an intimidation tactic on the officers or anything like that. When they were beating him on the ground, pistol whipping him on the ground, they happened to see that he had a gun, apparently. He wasn't throwing it at them as like a threat or something, or brandishing it or anything. He simply had it on him, which he was well within his right to do, and he got murdered for it.
And as Charlie already said earlier, it is 100% unjustifiable. There's no justice that you could say like, oh my God, he was approaching them with a gun. He wasn't. I understand I keep saying that, but that is the Republicans that all think this. They read the DHS post and they think they know everything.
There are people that are like, oh, I saw he had his phone, but if they say it was a gun, well, that must have been a gun. I cannot believe we've reached this level of brainwashing. There are so many angles of this, and in every single one of them, you can see he has his phone in his hand, and at no point during this interaction did he ever, like, pull a gun on them or anything. And in fact, in one of the angles, you can even clearly see that the agents actually took the gun from him prior to him being shot. You can actually see what looks to be one of the agents disarming him, taking the gun out of its holster and running away with the gun prior to him being shot.
And obviously most of the things he said were simple facts. I mean, it's kind of hard to disagree with facts, but yeah, you are fully permitted to carry a weapon. You're fully permitted to protest while having a weapon in your holster. You don't have to pick between the two. I have a feeling people don't understand the distinction. That's why I keep bringing that up as well, is a lot of people said that like he had a gun and that's enough. That's enough for them. That is extremely stupid. So seeing that a person like that can be killed by ICE just shows how brutal they are. And it also shows that they don't really give a shit. They saw the guy killed Renee Good. They saw another man died from a seizure, but he was an illegal. Because that guy literally shot, I think, 9 rounds into him from what we saw. I might have been 11 rounds. I don't remember specifically. All I know is that it was a lot more than necessary, even if this was a threat. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware of Kristi Noem. She is a very stupid bitch, but you're about to see her trying to justify what happened, and I'm going to talk about what I think about this after. Please excuse my language. I'm warning you, it's not going to be as beautiful as this was so far. I don't know how she got her position. She must have slept her way in, because there is no way she's intelligent enough to be part of this. Maybe, actually. I just realized they're not very smart.
Officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots.
And this is where they try to get you. This is where they try to change your mind, where they try to quite literally brainwash you. They did this with Renee Good. They show videos, they're saying, oh, the ICE agent felt endangered. He was getting run over. It was the same ICE agent who was dragged 1.5 miles a month ago. My answer to that quote in particular, because I wanted to get this out the way as well, is if he has PTSD, why the fuck is he working in places where you can harm other people? Same goes for police officers. I know that's not necessarily as on topic, but yeah, if you're a police officer who has PTSD, you don't need to be in active service with a firearm. That's just going to end poorly for you or for the person who you're, dealing with.
Some moment here you see that law enforcement approaches him and he backs away as they start moving up on him. He is not trying to move toward them, he's backing away. Then you're going to see one of these officers approach a woman near him and really forcefully shove her to the ground, right there. They're both getting pepper sprayed at this point. He gets grabbed and he's taken over to the ground here. I'll point out this is about 15 seconds from when officers turned to him. He's now on the ground. They are on top of him. The officers are all around. He does not appear to have a weapon in his hand. He doesn't brandish anything. He doesn't seem to do anything. And then all of a sudden you see one agent in the middle there. Look, he turns away, and that's when the shooting begins. One shot followed by, in our analysis, 9 other shots there. And law enforcement analysts here on CNN have raised questions as to why the picture of this gun that DHS shared online was shown on the seat of a car and not in the scene where Pretty was shot. And we now have an answer. CNN analysis shows, if you watch all those videos carefully, you see a federal agent right there who appears to be removing a gun. This is very critical to remember. That piece of video you're seeing right there is happening about a second, or maybe slightly less than a second, before the shooting begins.
So everything that I said is completely true. I mean, I never thought I'd be listening to CNN, to be honest, and people could say that, he's listening to the news, he's an idiot. Yeah, there's clear footage of what's happening. What are you listening to? fucking tweet, which actually, let's put that shit up on the screen. This is what DHS had to post about what happened. Can you like pause it and read it? Because I don't even want to get into it. You guys are fucking stupid. You're absolutely stupid if you believe this. I don't want to use the word, but you are very slow, to put it nicely.
This point that they're trying to beat into the empty minds of a lot of people that are trying so hard to justify it is that the only people being arrested and targeted by ICE are rapists and pedophile illegal aliens, which is just not the case. There definitely have been rapists and pedophiles that have been snatched up in all of this, and those rapists and pedophiles that have been caught and taken away, that's good. They shouldn't be out there breathing the free air. You could also right now march into the White House and arrest everyone in the White House, and you would get a ton of rapists and pedophiles. The goal is getting rapists and pedophiles off of American soil, thrown in the slammer, taking them away from society. Why is it only just walking through the fucking streets of Minnesota trying to do it? You would get significantly more rapists and pedophiles if you took ICE and brought them to the White House. Also, that belief of like a secret pedophile ring was a very popular one among Trump voters for the longest time, and now that it has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt to be real, legitimate reality, they are now just ignoring it. They have been proven correct that there was a huge pedophile ring of these powerful politicians, but because some of their favorite politicians are potentially wrapped up in it, they just want to drop it and forget about it.
Charlie, I think I have a crush on you. That was one of the most beautiful things I ever heard. Oh my God, voice crack. I'm being completely honest. I never thought about it like that. If you guys are so worried about getting pedophiles, child molesters, actually sex traffickers, you know, the worst of the worst people in this country, go to the fucking White House. Donald Trump is 100% in the Epstein files. No one denies that. Even my Republican friends know that he's in the Epstein files. They just don't care about it, when in reality, they know that the reason they don't care is because their beloved president is going in the slammer if that information releases, which honestly I don't think he would. Donald Trump at this point has so much power that I think he would somehow be able to avoid it. And yeah, with the redacted files, it shows that he has absurdly more power than he deserves, and he needs to be impeached again. Now guys, I was a Republican. I was a 100% Republican. My parents voted for Trump. My parents hate Trump now. And it's not to sit here and say that I'm just falling into a wave, you know, I'm doing what's trendy, etc. The reason I'm not a Republican anymore is because of Donald fucking Trump. In fact, if next election we have a better president, not JD Vance, I will vote for him. My point of this is Donald Trump literally fucking changed my political stance completely. He made me 180. At first I was like, I'm in the middle. You know, after I started not liking what Trump's doing, now I'm simply on the left. I'm simply done with the Republican side. I think the Republican side, and Charlie said this in his video, all the links in the description, by the way, but I think all Republicans are sheep. I think deliberately ignoring everything bad that happens on the right, which is exactly what they do with Donald Trump, exactly what they do with ICE, simply shows that you're a sheep. You don't care what happens, you just follow one person. You don't care if that person kicks you, you don't care if they take a shit on your head. You're gonna keep following them because that's all you know how to do, because you're a stupid fucking sheep. Obama deported way more people than Donald Trump has. Joe Biden has deported a lot more people than Donald Trump has. I think Bill Clinton also deported a lot more people than Donald Trump has. They did it by evidence. They did it by actual evidence. Donald Trump and his fucking goons are doing it by pure racism, doing it by brutal, disgusting ways. They treat these people worse than animals. And that is quite literally true. I have a ton of friends who have dogs, who have cats, and all of them take care of their cats more than the US government takes care of illegal immigrants. If you're an illegal and you got caught and they're sending you back, you would expect for them to not be super kind with you, and I understand that. You don't have to be super kind. That's not what I'm saying. You don't have to fucking pat them on the head, you know, you're such a good boy, it's okay, you can come back here legally. No, but you don't treat them like animals. You don't put them in cages. You don't arrest 5-year-olds, and you don't, I'm not even going to get into it. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and comment what you think about it. I'm not going to ask you to like or subscribe. This is not what this is about. This is something bigger. We need to take a stance against these animals. We need to take a stance against these brutal, brutal animals. Peace.